notes up then.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're live now already.
Well, we're live. Well, I scheduled it. We got to keep our people up, right?
Oh my goodness.
We're off to a great start with this new platform, aren't we?
Yeah, this is fabulous. I like it actually. All things considered.
Well, it should fix our audio bullshit.
Yeah.
But I can clearly hear Kurt's music in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. Sorry.
Yeah. We can edit this later, right?
That's right. Well, not the live stream. The live stream is live, but we have 0 listeners
true.
right now.
That's
so
true.
Whatever.
That's true.
We can figure it out.
So where are we live right now anyways?
All over the place. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and that's it so far. We don't have really any other.
Well, that means we can't fondle firearms while we're on the podcast then because
well, we're demonetized anyway. So
yeah, but YouTube will shut down the feed if we handle firearms on a live stream.
No, because the other podcast does it all the time.
Yeah, they had to stop.
Oh.
XFR about 2 episodes ago went on a big thing about how it sucks.
Shows how much I listen. Sorry, Trevor.
Yeah.
I'm just
sorry,
kidding.
not sorry.
No, I need to catch up. But anyway, welcome to episode 17 of Gunning Around, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. Woo! We have a new platform, StreamYards. We listened to your feedback, and because our audio was absolute dog shit, we figured, we'll sink some money into it. So here we are. So if you like it, if you don't like it, let us know. Well, you're stuck with it anyway now.
Yeah, so, we bought the ticket. We're taking the ride.
That's right. That's right. We're in it whether we like it or not. So I like it. It's good.
So far, it's good. I like it a lot, actually. Yeah,
for sure.
Anyway, who are we? For those of you who don't know, I am Sean, Equipment Service Professional, CCFR Provincial Coordinator, Regina Fishing Game League Director, and lover of all things boom.
Ooh. I'm John. I'm a journeyman electrician, CCFR Field Officer, VP of the Regina Fishing Game League, Project Maple Seed IIT, Firearms Business Owner, M14 Medic Firearms, Sport Shooter, Hunter, and Certifiable Rifle Looney.
Agreed. Hey, everybody. I'm Rooster, and I have projectile dysfunction.
Oh, no. You should get that looked at.
Judge me, guys.
Is that ejectile dysfunction? Or?
We don't judge, man. We just support it. That's all.
I work in construction management. I'm an alleged father of at least 3 children. I like to donate houses. I don't know if that's good for this show. But anyway, I'm a long-range precision junkie and also spend most of my day ruminating about ballistic refinements.
Ooh.
Hand loading.
So
fooling around.
Was that just me, or did Kurt just go really quiet there?
He went quiet too.
Did I?
That's okay. Oh. That's okay. We'll live. I'll boost it in the after effect. I'll try to.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's right. But he spends most of his day ruminating about ballistic refinements. I got to ask you, Rooster.
Yeah.
Where do you come up with this shit?
I don't know. So, have you ever met people who, like, if you could, you'd just like to take a walk around inside their minds just to see what's going on?
Some people.
You should take a tour through mine.
No. We'll spare ourselves.
What is seen cannot be unseen.
When left alone, let's just say I can get creative. Whether or not that's good, I guess
Oh. Well, guys, we'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please, if you visit us at facebook.com/gunningaround and leave a review. You can also email the show, gunningaround308@gmail.com or info@gunningaround.com. Without your feedback, how can we improve? We have an awesome new website and StreamYards.
Yeah.
And we have feedback.
Those would classify as improvements. I'm certain.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we said for 16 episodes, if you don't like what you're hearing, tell us, and we'll change it. So the people who emailed us told us we sound like dog shit, and so we're like, okay, let's fucking fix this shit, right? So here we are.
We actually took that into consideration.
Who wants to read Flavio's emails?
Okay, yeah, he sent us 2. I'll cover the one about the audio.
Okay.
He says, it's short and sweet. Love listening to your show. The more firearm-related podcasts in Canada, the better. Only one request. please get better mics. Wow. We're kind of working on it, and hopefully the audio is fixed on this. So
First things first.
Well, baby steps. I think this
Yeah.
is the first big step we have to take to fix the audio. I think the next step is going to be a massive investment in equipment. Hopefully we can figure that out. So
we got a few irons in the fire right now to try and get that upgraded.
Exactly.
So stay tuned.
We have irons in the fire constantly. And I think we're going to have for years to come.
I just hope the fire doesn't turn into conflagration or something.
New announcement. We have irons in the fire. Well,
Hey, we have a live comment.
Oh,
Check it out. VC Vandersloos.
oh,
That sounds like the sex club from Eurotrip. Vander sex.
it kind of makes me want to go, actually.
Cool. Well, thanks. I'm glad it's working. Welcome to the.
Okay, so we have the other email from the same listeners is actually, I have a question. I'm a new shooter, about 3 years now, and I finally got my dream gun, a 45 Colt SAA. That's a single action army for anybody who doesn't know what that is. Looking for tips on reloading. Remember, I'm new and no experience. Thanks in advance. Well, I guess it's going to be kind of like my job to answer that, I guess. Hey.
It would be.
Yeah, you're the resident expert in.
So Flavio, starters. If you don't know what this is, I would try and get a copy of the ABCs of Reloading. If nothing else,
book.
it'll give you a run through on what the to dos and not to dos. And then if you're shooting cast, cast bullet handbook is a lifesaver when you're shooting cast. Lyman pistol and revolver book is also a lifesaver when you're shooting a lot of pistols, especially some older obscure stuff. And then one of my favorite tomes is Ken Walter's Pet Loads. So that's kind of where I started to try and answer your question. And I did a bit of homework on this. It's a bit of a read. I'm going to read it because fuck it. So I'm going to send this to you too, Flavio, in case you missed the episode or something like that. But hello and thanks for running the show. I guess I have been elected as the co-host to answer this question, mostly because I think I'm the only one who currently reloads this caliber. You say you have a Colt single-action army, but you don't mention if that is current century production or late last century. This makes a bit of a difference. In the interest of brevity, I will throw 4 safe in all revolver loads at you. Assume brass cartridge case and a large pistol primer. The manufacturer of either doesn't matter. So I try to stick to 1 or 2 bullet weights in when I'm starting to reload stuff like this. So 200 grain lead projectile. So either 7 grains of unique or 5.8 grains of type group is a good place to start. For a 250 grain lead projectile, and these can be round nose or wad cutter or what have you. 6.5 grains of trail boss, which actually mimics black powder pretty cool. So pretty well. So that's pretty good. And 6.5 grains of unique. So Ken Walter's Pet Loads lists 3 different types of firearms that are chambered in this cartridge and varying pressure levels for each. Personally, I think that is sufficient for a novice reloader, but I also think there is a 4th level of theoretical pressure maximum. I wouldn't attempt the 4th level unless you have a rifle of a certain type and manufacturer. I would put all of the above listed loads in the Type 1 class, which is the lowest pressure class, which means that if you have an antique pistol made for black powder, all of these will still work as long as it takes a 45 long Colt cartridge or 45 Colt cartridge. A few things to note about reloading 45 long Colt or 45 Colt cartridges. It is a straight wall pistol case. The die set will be a 3-die set. All 3 are necessary to load the cartridge. The first die sizes the case to minimum SAMI spec for the body of the case. The second die flares the case mount so that a flat base bullet can be seated into the case. And the third die seats the bullet and roll crimps the case to firmly hold the projectile. So now, obviously, I didn't put this in here, but it goes without saying that after you resize the case, the decapping rod is going to pop out the old primer. You're going to have to put a new primer in there. And I didn't list that in here. Maybe I will before I send the email. My first bit of advice is to size the case fully. Follow the directions in the die set for setting up the resizing die. You want it to fully resize the case. Second, do not under or over flare the case mount. You want enough flare that the bullet will start into the case when seating the projectile, but not so much that the end of the case looks like a trumpet. A little goes a long way. A lot will stop the case from actually entering the seating die. Third point, you will want to ensure the crimp groove, if there is one, winds up at the end of the case. In the classic style, that's a round nose with a flat point, 45 long Colt, 250 grain RNFP projectile, round nose, flat point projectile. There's a pretty obvious crimp groove. So you'll have a lube groove and then a crimp groove that has no lube in it. You actually want the case to tuck into that groove. If there's no crimp groove, then use your best judgment. So you'll want to seat your bullet where you think it will want to go. You want to seat your bullets a little deeper in the case. So if you have like a straight wad cutter size style bullet, or one of the Hornady bullets that has like a knurling on the outside of the lead projectile, and you want to seat your bullets a little bit deeper into the case, be sure to reduce the powder charge if you have an older Colt to ensure you don't accidentally increase pressure levels in the firearm. Now, full disclosure, there are many, many, many other powder and bullet combinations that are possible. Consult a load manual or visit Hodgman Reloading Data Center to be completely overwhelmed with options. And then I have 2 links here for some interesting reading about the 45 long Colt. One's for chuckhawks.com/highpressure45.htm and gunsandammo.com/editorial/reloading the 45 Colt. So both there's some interesting reading on the 45 Colt. I can geek out pretty hard on the 45 Colt, like
obviously.
Yeah.
That's okay though. That's for a first time reloader. I don't want Flavio to make the same mistake I did, right? For that. So,
well, and that's kind of the point here too. Like it really matters on how old the revolver is. Like the first generation of Colt single action armies that were designed for black powder are in your Type 1, or what Ken Walters calls the Type 1 powder or pressure level, which is pretty darn low, right? I think 14,000 or 13,000 psi, 12,000, something like that. It's obscenely low. But the Type 2 are like the ones that were made up until even some of the Red Hawks and Black Hawks kind of fall into that range as well. But the better made, produced after smokeless powder was in high, wide usage, those ones. And then you got pressure level 3, which is your TC condensers and stuff like that. And then the fourth one is, I'm not even going to go into it because it's way beyond safe pressure levels on anything. So
we'll post this on our Facebook page and send it to Flavio as well. And if you guys have any questions, hit John up, John at Gunning Around.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Hey, no problem.
No, and by all means, send us more emails about that kind of stuff, because that kind of gives us something to talk about. Sometimes we have a hard time with that. Outside
of just what we want to talk about, right? We want to cover what you guys want to hear, right?
Exactly.
But if you guys want to hear what we don't give a shit about, then you're not going to hear it. So
we'll do our best.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. Rooster, where can you find us? Oh, he's muted. Unmute that shit, son.
I was pissing around.
There you go. You're good.
You got to touch the dongle.
Never mind. Check out the podcast on facebook.com/gunningaround. We post cool gun porn and share various news articles and stories relevant to firearms in Canada and around the world. Pod is available on Apple Podcasts app, Stitcher, and YouTube's and stuff and shit stuff and places.
I'm working on putting it on Google Play too. It's already on Google Podcasts, but not on Google Play or something like that.
I don't know why they would have 2 podcast apps. That seems weird.
I don't know. Regardless, you find us wherever you get your shit, and if you can't, let us know. I'll see what I can do and give me more work to do. That's okay. What are you drinking, John?
Oh, well, I am drinking the wait. I want to make sure I do this right. The Glenfiddich single malt.
Very nice.
Yeah. The bottle's almost empty.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah.
Is that a 12 or a 15 year?
12 year. Our signature malt. It's the green bottle.
Nice. Yeah.
Green label, I should say, because even the red label's in a green bottle, I think.
Cool.
It sure is tasty.
Rooster, what do you got?
Actually, I'm doing a combination. I have Spice Box whiskey. It's very nice.
Spice Box.
You said box.
I was giggling in the liquor store, thinking the same thing.
I can just see you standing there, like looking at it, just like.
It's funny. The other day, there was, how they've got these security guys in there. this security guy. I was the only guy in the store at the time, and the security guy's walking around. He's pretending he's looking at some of the stock on the shelves and that, and just occasionally, his eyes come up and look at me. And I'm like, do I look like that much of a degen? You figure you got to keep your eyes on me.
He figured you're to stick a Mickey in that beard or something.
Yeah, I guess maybe, but it's kind of funny because I was hanging around, like lurking, honestly, because I really didn't know what the hell I wanted to buy. and I finally got some help. I asked the guy for that proper 12.
Oh,
because I did have a couple of shots of it. The Canadian Brew House here.
Oh yeah.
I had that fight night.
Yeah.
Right. They were serving shots of it for, I don't know, $4 or whatever, and they entered to win some sort of prize. So we had a couple of shots of that, and it was actually quite good. So I was looking for a bottle, but they were sold out. So I just took the spice box. I've had it quite often before. It's really nice, and just, I don't know, to break up some monotony, my Michelob Ultra.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
You gotta wash that box taste out of your mouth.
I guess. No. You get the right box, it's good all day.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody loves a little bit of smear.
Well, if you're looking for something to disinfect your greasy filled sink, this is the way to go. As you can tell, look at the label on that thing. There is none.
So is that from Mike?
I can't say the guy's name.
Okay.
But his company.
It's from other Mike.
Yeah.
Oh. Mike from Canmore.
The other white meat, if you want to say. We'll say his name's Uncle Stubble Jumper. Okay, and this is his genuine Saskatchewan moonshine, and I can honestly say the shit is delicious. It's so good.
Thanks for holding out, buddy.
Hey, I got you one too. Look, it's still sealed.
Yeah,
hey, there you
tells
go.
me it's not by the time you get home.
Oh no, it'll still be sealed. Well, we'll see if I get through this tonight. I'm hoping to.
Good.
But we'll see. Anyway, John, who is never mind. I got ahead of myself. I guess I'll cover this. We like to partake in the consumption of adult beverages, like you just saw. If you want to send us any form of consumable alcohol for us to review on air, get in touch via Facebook, via whatever. We'll arrange it. So thanks to Uncle Stubble Jumper for this stuff. So
huzzah.
Yeah, I can't really give a review because it's basically just pure distilled alcohol. So
well, you could.
Well, I can. Okay, I can't.
Fruity aromas and the.
I can't feel my tongue. Is that a review? So there's that.
It's a paint thinner, disinfectant, and it'll get you high.
Exactly. So anyway, well, I guess I shouldn't have covered that, but anyway, we'll get into the ad read. Hey, John, you want to read your own ad?
Sure. Serving the Canadian gun industry since 2016, M14 Medic Firearms specializes in M14 pattern rifles as well as Garand rifles. This is your one-stop shop for all your M14 gun plumber needs. If he doesn't do it, you know someone who does.
Coming up next, we have John.
Sounds
nice. Currently, our only sponsor. Currently.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Shortly.
You guys are making me go into the poorhouse here. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
You're the one most familiar with it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're going to TACOM. Right? We're still doing that.
Well, are we?
We'll see. We got to hash some stuff out. But so far, the answer is yes. So it's TACOM Canada, September 11th and 13th. We're part of the Canadian Pro Gun Podcasters Network. We'll be there with other podcasts, SFR, CPP, Canadian Prepper Podcast, all those guys that we've said for the last 6 weeks.
We should really include that whole list in our show notes, hey?
Yeah, we got to start.
I was thinking about that last time, and of course it leaked out between then and now.
True.
How that is.
But, we're all going to be there. So we're all going to have swag. We're all going to have all the personalities there. Come by, say hi. We'll have stickers. Hopefully, maybe we'll have shirts. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, come by, say hi. Maybe we'll see Ontario Tim there. He's here commenting on the live stream, so that's cool.
Cool.
I'm at work, so I'll be back.
This is your fault, by the way, Tim. You're the one who said, you guys were on live stream. It'd be awesomer. Well, is it awesomer or what?
Well, we're awesomer. So
he's on night shift, though, so he'll be periodic. Hey, Steve.
Stevie, hey, buddy. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to TACOM still. Maybe we'll see. That might change, but we need your help to get there. So if you guys want, like more than just the emotional support you guys give us, if like anything will help on our Patreon account, $1 a month would be phenomenal. Go on, support us. We'll give you a shout out on air as well, on top of the emails and all that stuff. So, Kurt might even give you a good whisker rubbing. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. If we can't raise any money before then, I'm going to have to drop around the care homes and see if any of the old ladies need some company. It's gotten to that. I can't stand out in the street corner anymore. It's my advanced age has pushed me to a different demographic for that sort of work.
Wait, you get paid for that?
Oh, shit. I hope nobody from CRA is listening.
Yeah, exactly. Right on.
Jim, this is awesomer.
So, before we get into the main topic, guy commented earlier on in the live stream, Vandersloos, that's how you say it?
Yeah.
He brought up petition E2341. We need to keep hammering that. If you haven't signed it yet, get your wife to sign it. Get everyone to sign it and confirm their signatures. I think we're at 58,000, right? That's what he says. But he's a pretty shady cat, so I don't trust his source. But the previous record holder was what, 130-some thousand?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
132, something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but
so we're smashing it. So
you know what? I can intern that. Give me 35 seconds.
Yeah, pull that shit up.
And remember to check the junk mail. I think there's still a lot of unverified signatures because that return email that you get from the petition to verify. A lot of people are just forgetting but neglecting to check that. So we're missing a bunch of signatures that way. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a number lately.
Well, I think it was up to 15,000 at one point, I believe.
Well, I thought it was 33,000.
Oh, it could
some point.
Yeah, it could be.
133. It's at 158 right now.
No, but for the unconfirmed signatures, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. Where do you even find that?
Well, I don't know. If Brad, the field officer who sent it up, wants to chime in, that would be phenomenal. He'll let us know. But yeah, go check that out. Sign it. Get your wife to sign it. If your kids are of age, get them to sign it. Yeah, all the help, because we don't know what's coming down the pipe, right? So yeah. Now, should we dive into the main topic?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Kurt wants a shotgun.
I'm
again
here. I'm ashamed to say that I'm not much of a shotgun guy either. I've focused so much on rifles. I had a shotgun a long time ago, and I thought, what the hell do I want to use this for? I like to hit shit way out there and hit it hard. Little did I know I was going to years later be living in this neighborhood.
Yeah, but you're not going to use the shotgun for that anyway. You're going to use it for hunt.
No, I meant out in town. Like, you should see the way the deer look at you out here. I swear they have incisors. They're nasty critters.
Well,
not to mention the grouse, like the prairie chickens. Have you ever been walking through and get in under the snow, walking through the bush, and all of a sudden they pop up like 4 feet from you?
Yeah.
And it's you pee your pants and have a little mini mall seizure at the same time.
And they kind of give you that, fuck you, as they fly away.
Yeah, exactly. Land in the tree.
Just out of range, too.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you one thing right now. Like I grew up around shotguns. I've always had at least 3 or 4 in the stable, but I was never much of a shotgun shooter. I could never hit nothing with a shotgun. And then a buddy of mine explained to me that shotguns fit a certain way. And then I wound up buying this Friashi over under.
Ooh.
And everything I point at that thing at, it dies, whether it's a pheasant or a chicken or
You said Fioki?
Friashi.
Frankie.
Friashi.
Yeah, that'll be enough of that.
It's an over under break action.
Yeah, it's a Frankie.
Sure. Anyways, looking at this thing, I finally figured out what it is that all my other shotguns don't do, and that's that Friashi has a little bit. When you look like with the muzzle of the gun in front of your forehead, you look down the barrel, down to the trigger guard, down to the wrist, and then the butt kicks over about 3/4 of an inch. And apparently that's what I needed, because everything just dies with that shotgun. I love hunting upland now. We're like, me and a couple of buddies tend to shoot a lot of pheasant every year and that kind of thing. And that shotgun's changed everything for me.
So are you talking about cast on the stock?
Is that what that is? Where the
Cast
shot
on,
kicks
cast
over?
off. Yeah.
Okay, so if I bring the shotgun up, the butt kicks out. Like
Yeah.
So instead of being straight on, it cambers over, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's cast.
it comes like this, and so it's got about 3/4 of an inch, which is perfect for me. So yeah, and I've never really been a big single shot or over under fan, because I've always needed 2, 3, sometimes 5 rounds in order to get anything, right? So my standard hunting geese and ducks and stuff like that, waterfowl or migratory was 1 box of shells equals 1 bird, right?
Oh, jeez.
Those are expensive birds.
Yeah,
right?
As long as you have those numbers doped out, all good, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad if you're shooting 3.5-inch blindside at $35 a box. You go to the Hutterites and get a tame goose for about a quarter of the money, and it tastes better. So
and you're not picking lead out of it as you're spitting lead out as you chew up on the breast. But
no,
anyway.
that was my big problem with shotguns. And once I realized that, I became a much bigger fan of shotguns. I've always had lots though, right? So
Kurt, what do you want to use it for?
Well, I've thought about a lot about taking a small shotgun with me through the bush, when I'm out hunting moose or whatever. Like, there's so often in the middle of the day you're moose hunting or deer hunting and just kind of tramping around and nothing else is moving. And I don't know how many times you run across some spruce grouse in that. It's not like I'm going to hit them with my 358. Well, I could, I suppose, but
it'd be kind of a waste there, right?
In the interest of actually eating the damn thing,
and in the interest of the game.
But there's nothing illegal about shooting a bird with a center fire, is it? Or a rifle?
An upland bird. You can't shoot geese or ducks, but
right.
But
that, and I don't know. Like, I don't give much thought to protection while hunting bears while you're bow hunting. But it's kind of always, not always, it's in the back of your mind sometimes. Just a little bit of reassurance, I suppose.
Yeah.
That you have something that's a little quicker than re-knocking an arrow.
Yep.
Okay.
And you know what? It's been years and years and years since I've actually bird hunted, like hunted geese or ducks or anything like that. I still get buddies that bug me that I should come out and it's trigger time and all that kind of stuff. And I've never been a blaster or a spray and pray kind of guy.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe a fellow needs that kind of thing every once in a while.
It's a good stress relief too, and and it's not like you're going to go competing, so it's not like you need a crazy souped up Versamax from Casey at TACCOM or TACCOM, pardon me, or the new Jam 940 from Jerry and Lena Mikulek, or you know what I mean. It's you can
just imagine that thing.
You're looking for something more utilitarian that you can carry around in the bush. that, you could adequately use for multiple purposes, not just, for defense or for shooting clays. You want something kind of, the jack of all trades, master of nothing kind of thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I guess the next question. So we figured out that he wants something more utilitarian than fancy schmancy. So you're probably looking for something like a pump as opposed to a semi.
Well, listen, you guys know me. I am pretty much Mr. fucking utility. If you look at my truck, you look at my rifles, I don't give a shit what they look like. I'm not a showman. The goddamn thing's got to work. That's it. And if I have to run somebody over or smack somebody with something, my old 358 Norma.
So
right?
Can I start calling you utility grade then?
You can.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
No, I wouldn't dream of it, Kurt.
So we're not talking about Benelli M4 money, is what I'm talking about. Because there's obviously a budget involved here.
I prefer to spend my money in the precision game. I don't think that's ever going to change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
what is looking for a single shot break action either? So like a Lazori break in half son of a gun thing ain't going to be what you want either. So.
I'll take a bat. if I'm handed a single shot break open, I will take a bat.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. You get one round and then it's a bat.
Right.
Okay. So we kind of figure out what you're looking for. What's your budget?
I don't know. I suppose it depends on what it is. I'm starting to see some of those Turkish shotguns. Like there's all sorts of them, it seems like, and I'm a little bit skeptical of those ones that you can buy for $300 or $325 or whatever. I don't know. I'm hesitant to get into that game. A good.
Why?
Now you get what you pay for. In most cases.
True.
I don't think you can deny that.
No.
And I don't know, because I know so little about shotguns. I really haven't paid any real attention to them. What little I know is 870 Remingtons and the Mossberg 500s, things like that.
You're making a comment here. Sorry, John. You're in good shape if you stick to those style platforms. If you go with even a
which
Turkish
specifically,
copy, I'm a huge fan myself of the 870. My father was an RCMP. Don't hold that against me. He was an RCMP member for 37 years, and he carried an 870 in his cruiser, until he was put into plain clothes. But he always said if it's good enough for hunting goose, if it's good enough for hunting deer, it's good enough for riot suppression. It's good enough for any utility you're going to need it for. And, you can get it different barrels. The accessory market out there for the 870 is absolutely astronomical. Like I built that personally. My favorite shotgun that I use is a Remington 870 Express, post 2012 made. So people would say, "Oh, it's a piece of shit," but you know what? I've put thousands of shells through it, and I've had zero malfunctions except for me short stroking the bitch when I first started. But I put a Magpul forend on it. I put a slug barrel on it. I fucked around. The thing is great, and the thing's bulletproof, right? And and the same can be said about Mossberg as well. Like if you go with a 500 or a 590. My buddy Wes, we always used to rib each other because I was the 870 guy, he was the 590 guy, and we go to our friend Pete's farm just south of Regina, and we'd set up a little 3-gun or a 3-gun course, but it was we made these stands for clays that held single clays, and we'd make different stages with them and just run and gun with those on his farm with target loads, and it would always come down to me and Wes or Eric or whoever, and it was just a good time. But it was always the 590 versus the 870. And in my opinion, if you pick one of those from either of those brands or copies, whether it's Turkish or not, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna save a little money with the Turkish copy, but but you got to be careful with those Turkish copies too, because some of them don't fit certain, furniture, certain chokes, that's
right. So what about that? That was going to bring me to my next question. What about replacement parts in that?
Well, here
I remember when Norinco came out with those 870 copies, and I knew a couple of guys that bought them. One guy bought
I've got two of them
that
myself.
little 12-inch. Oh, is that right?
Yep.
And they're supposed to be, well, just like the M305s, right? They're pretty much an exact copy and swappable parts and all that kind of stuff. But there was some, I was sure that I had heard some or read some things about some parts not fitting right.
Yep.
And some unreliable parts in the copies.
Well, just like any other Chinese platform for pick your poison, it's gonna have parts commonality with the one that it's a copy of, but they're not going to be drop-in fit. There's going to be some fitting, whether it's an AR or a 12 gauge or a CZ copy of a bolt action or a pistol or a SIG or whatever. It's going to have some issues. I just posted a link. I can't seem to get to the live comments and post a link in the live comments, but I post one on the private chat here to GoTenda, and it's a Churchill pump action 12 gauge 3-inch pistol grip shotgun.
Yep.
It's $269, and it's an 870 clone. And from
is it that Etro, or what is it again? Sorry.
A Churchill pump action 12 gauge 3-inch pistol grip, and it's called the Churchill pump action 3-inch pistol grip shotgun. Fuck, I don't know. That's all I got for you. It's a fixed cylinder slug, so it's a slug tube, which means it's not going to have any kind of a choke on it. 12 gauge. It's got an attractively short barrel, as far as I'm concerned, and it takes, from what I understand, it takes 870 parts. So if you want to swap out that,
there you go.
870. That's the way to go. Now, the reason why I'm saying that one is because you're looking for something that's going to go bang. You're looking for something that's going to be relatively reliable and have some sort of aftermarket support, in that the original one that it's copied from is still in manufacture, right? But you're not going to drop $450, $500 for great grandpappy's old duck gun so that you can go spend $500 on a barrel and $300 on a stock and another $200 on a side saddle for some extra shells. This one here is pretty much ready to go as is. Got
the furniture is different.
Yeah,
but it looks a little different to me. But
it looks almost like Benelli M4-ish for furniture. From what I understand, it takes Remington 700 or Remington 870 butt stocks. So,
so have you guys used a shotgun like this with the pistol grip on it?
It depends. Like, so with my 3-gun stuff, I hate pistol grips, because when you're reloading a shotgun, you generally, like, I'm a righty, so I'm using my left hand for support, and then I'm throwing the butt over my right shoulder so that the chamber is open to my face, and then I have a chest rig with all my shells on it from Invictus Practical. Shout out to Tyson and Guy at Wolverine for hooking me up with that. But it's a shell that holds, I believe, 16 shells. So, and I quad load. So I'll grab 4 off my chest rig. So with them all facing down, if that makes sense, with a shotgun on my shoulder, and I'll go first 2, second 2, and I'm back in the action, right? So if you have a pistol grip, that sort of doesn't make sense, right? Because it's going to get in your way. But some guys love it. Some guys love the M4 style, because it sometimes 12 gauge for some guys, not necessarily us bigger folk, but for some guys it's a little hard to control when you start going rapid fire and blah blah blah. So yeah, it just depends. For what you're going to use, I would stick with the traditional style stock, not necessarily the pistol grip. Just because it's a little more versatile. You can get it in and out of the truck easier, won't get snagged on shit, but I don't know. What do you think, John?
Well, one of our handy listeners just sent us a link to an 870 Express for $499.
Yep. That's kind of the going price for an 870 now, like for
18-inch barrel, standard buttstock. I'm not sure if that would be better or worse or the same.
Like 870s, you can kind of configure it as needed. There's different barrels out there. Like I've even got a Norinco mag-fed 870 copy. Yeah, that takes those. Like, I bought a bunch of Dominion Arms mags from Canada Ammo for it, and but it's got a 12-inch barrel with a ghost ring, or not a ghost ring, but like a shrouded peep sight on it. And that thing, it won't shoot fuck all except for slugs. And I was at the Regina Wildlife Federation 200-yard black powder range, shooting a man-sized IDPA style target with slugs with irons at 200 yards and getting groups like this. Yeah. Like with slugs with a smooth bore barrel. Yeah. Like, just insane. So it just depends. Like, and I really lucked out with that one, but I know guys that have got them, put 2 rounds through and had it blow up in their face, and it just depends.
So I've heard those mag-fed shotguns are unreliable or hard to get to feed or something like that.
Well, it's like loading Enfield mags, right? You have to get the rims properly set.
That's a myth.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
But when those mags are under recoil, though, John, and you got and for those shotgun mags, you get that 12 gauge kicking hard with that 870 action. Sometimes those rims jump, and they do. It's happened to me. Or if you're short stroking that the pump on that one, you really got to fucking hammer, like whack whack, and you're good to go, right? So it just depends. Go on, John.
The reason why I said it was a myth is because back when the 303 Enfield was first designed, the shoulder on the rim was rounded on the front and the back. So military surplus cartridges, it doesn't matter what side the rim's on, it's still going to feed every time you close that bolt. So that rim lock is only with commercial hunting ammunition and stuff like that. So, but actual 303 British military surplus ammunition does not have that problem. Fun fact.
There you go. Now we can say we learned something tonight.
So, did you see Tim's comment there? S&J Hardware has tons of 870 stuff.
And Simon is a fabulous person.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Fabulous person. Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with picking an 870 platform. It's been around. It's not going away.
Well, that's kind of where I got stuck, I suppose, with considering anything other than like the Mossbergs, the 500s, the 590s.
Yeah. Again, you can't go wrong because the aftermarket I find isn't as big for Mossberg for the 500, 590 as it would be for the 870, just because of the sheer numbers and the longevity of the 870 being out there.
Those 500s and 590s are in pretty wide use with law enforcement, aren't they?
The 500's been around since the 60s.
Yeah,
it's like the 870's been around since the 50s, right? So I would hazard a guess that there's maybe more guys that are boutiquing the 870 than there are the 500, but the aftermarket support, if you're looking for anti-tilt followers and bolt upgrades and stock sets and stock upgrades and all that kind of stuff, you're going to find just as much stuff for the 500 as you would for the 870. But now nobody's cloning the 500 though either, at least not that I'm aware of. Anything that's coming out of Turkey that's in that really budget-friendly, price point is all 870 clone stuff, right?
Well, or look at what Canuck has out there. You were on Tenda, John.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of Canuck stuff out there brought in by Odell, and Canuck is a Turkish copy, but a higher-end Turkish copy, in my opinion. But there's support there from an importer, right? Yeah. Whereas a lot of times, you don't see certain importers stand behind some of these copies, right? Whereas Tim and his team at Odell, they do stand behind this stuff. In fact, they actively promote it. If you have a problem with it, get in touch with our support, and we'll figure out an economical solution to get it fixed, right? So,
and it's a funny story because I was listening to another podcast. I'm not going to say any names, but they had somebody on from Trigger Wholesale, I believe. And they were saying that there's actually 18 different shotgun manufacturers in Turkey.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
And about 17 of them used to build shotguns for Remington, Winchester.
Yeah, I thought I'd read that too.
All that kind of stuff. There's a thriving industry in firearms production in Turkey.
Yep.
And like look at the Remington used to have a bolt action 22.
Mhm.
I can't remember what it was. Not the 597. It was 500 or I don't know what the heck it is. But it was a great little bolt action rifle, and Zastava is now making it.
Yep.
It's now branded Zastava, but it completely 100% interchangeable with Remington parts because it was
really?
actually made in the same factory.
It's the same tooling, right?
But instead of saying Remington, it says Zastava on the side of the action.
No kidding.
Yeah, the same tooling it was just left over. Like when Remington pulled out, they left all their drawings and everything, right?
They
So,
probably subcontracted to these guys. They were actually
for sure.
probably making them, right? So
Well, like, and Hatsan is another good example of good Turkish importing. I have a Hatsan MPA semi-auto. Yes, it's a little funky. I bought that years ago, but the reason it's funky is because the bolt release is actually built into the shell lifter. So you yeah, it's weird. So on an 870, you got the what's the term? I'm drawing a blank now. And shell lifter is not the right term, but the loading gate, right?
Yeah.
But on an 870, it's just a solid piece. Whereas on a Hatsan Escort, it's a solid piece, but built into it is a hinged part, a hinged loop that you engage with a shell, and that drops the bolt. So you have the bolt hole on one, you drop a round in the chamber, hit that little notch, drops the bolt, then you can load it normally, but you have to engage that little hinge before you put it in. That's the only quirk about it. But that has a pistol grip on it. I put a Hollow Sun red dot on it and love it. It's gone bang with every cheap ammo I've got. It's gone through Challenger, Black Eagle, Score, and all light target loads like number 8, number 7, number 8 target loads. And I've had zero issues. So you can go through with that with a semi option. Hatsan is the company there. I was actually looking back when TNT, not TNT, but TNT Arms out of Oliver was still running. Shout out to Tim if he's still listening to this stuff, or Tony, pardon me. Tony, I was looking at importing a Hatsan through him for a duck gun because they just go bang. Like, I don't know.
I actually owned a Hatsan Escort. Action came with 2 barrels, a pistol grip, or a full-length buttstock, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. And
is that right?
I'm not too proud to say that I sold it to my dad because I knew that I would get it back one day.
Right.
I say that, and I should probably watch my P's and Q's because there's another well-known podcast host who used to say the same thing, and he just went through something terrible last week. So, but yeah.
So I see in the comments here, Fabian asks rim lock. I'm not sure exactly what he's getting at. I'm assuming he's talking about those 303
when the rims or the shotgun shells, like Sean was saying. Also,
you're talking about the top round over behind the following round kind of thing, right?
Yeah. I think the same thing happened with 22 long rifle too.
Yeah.
So, when you're trying to shove that next round in, it's caught on the rim of the round beneath it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And Matthew says nothing wrong with Canuck whatsoever. I don't know anybody. What's that?
You've met Matthew.
Where?
At the gun show. He's one of my field officers.
Oh, okay.
Big guy with the beard.
Is he one of your field officers, or is he one of our field officers?
Well, technically, I'm still coordinator. So. Well, there's my dad, 870 all the way.
My goodness. Son's dad.
Nice.
I wonder why, hey? How many years with that thing?
37. I think this is the number.
In the trunk or on the transmission hump?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Knowing my dad. Anyway.
A little bit out the window when he sees a grouse. No.
Yeah. It was a different time back in the 70s. So does that kind of point you in the right direction, Kurt? Or?
I think so. God knows there's lots of options out there. And you can get different barrels for different purposes, I suppose, in that too, right? Yeah. Chokes actually is something that I've never really looked into, and I get lost in all the hubbub. I have a couple of friends that shoot trap, and it's just like any other discipline of whatever sport. there's the nerds that get right into this kind of stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you don't have this, then you're a loser, and you need these things, and that elitism and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And they get talking about all this stuff, including chokes and cast on, cast off, and all this different shit that you can do with these super expensive shotguns. And I just kind of tune out. But chokes, if you wouldn't mind going through chokes and like shot sizes and what they're, I suppose, appropriate for. Like trap loads are pretty much consistently 7.5s or something, aren't they?
Like, for instance, at our range, you can only shoot 7.5 or 8 bird shot on the trap range at our club, because the RCMP is concerned that 6 or 4 shot will fly a little further. So now the way this works is, oh boy, how does that work? You have so many balls so many balls make a pound. No, that's not it. That's bore. Anyways, 8 is small, 9 is small.
There's dram weight.
Kind of like wire size.
Mm-hmm.
The larger the number, the smaller it is. Right. So like 22 gauge wire is like your hair, right?
For sure.
Same thing with lead shot for birds. So your 9s and your 8s are going to be pretty much exclusively for trap. Your 7.5s are, you can use those on grouse. I wouldn't use them on pheasant, but you can if in early season when they're close, when they're not flushing too far away, you can use them on grouse and pheasant. Number 6 would be slightly larger again. Number 4 slightly larger again, and then 2, and then you got single lot, double lot buck, triple lot buck, because the balls get bigger and bigger and bigger, and 4-aught buck. And then, you've also got a couple other ones there like BB. Anyways, it's just all kind of different sizes and different. Then you got your lengths. You got your 2 3/4,
right,
3 inch or 3.5. I don't know myself.
That's
appropriate uses. I mean, like I think most of us are aware that there's all sorts of different shot sizes and all that kind of stuff that you can get.
Rule of thumb. Wiggle my thumb in the air, is whatever the Winchester box says to shoot it at, that's a good call.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Myself personally, I like shooting number 6 lead at pheasants early season, and I switch up to a number 2 late season for pheasants, because they're generally flushing a little further away, because they're early season, they're flushing closer, so they're a little closer. You can take a little bit closer shots at them. Later season, I want a heavier shot. And that's also where your choke comes into play too, because your choke is basically a forcing cone that's going to force the shot into a tighter pattern, leaving the bore. So your cylinder bore is obviously the same size as the cylinder all the way down the tube. And then you've got your first one, which is probably an improved cylinder, which just slightly kicks it a little bit. And then you got your modified, which is supposed to be good for lead or steel. So it's kind of like your everyman's choke.
Sure.
And then you've got your full, which is your standard lead full choke. You got your extra full, which is again extra, even smaller, like the 12 gauge bore. Is the same size as a die. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and then you've also got your rifled chokes as well, right?
Is that effective? Like when you have a smooth bore shotgun and you want to shoot slugs, you put a rifled choke in it.
Depends.
That'll give it enough spin to stabilize that thing.
Depends on what kind of slug it is, right?
Right.
Like a lot of people are confused about rifled slugs, because you've heard of rifled slugs before, right?
Yeah, you bet.
The reason they're rifled is so that you can shoot them in a shotgun with a full choke, and the slug will swage down to that's why it's rifled, is so it's got room to swage down to make it smaller to go through that full choke. But it's still full size if you want to shoot it in an improved cylinder or a straight cylinder bore, right? You have a bunch of different kinds of slugs out there, and how they work all kind of depends on what kind of choke you have. Now, if you were to say take a 308 bore, and it's just a smooth bore, nominal bullet diameter, and then and shoot a bullet through there, you wouldn't expect much for accuracy. Now, if you have a full rifling all the way, that bullet is going to impart a good amount of spin, you're going to get a solid spin, and it's going to be repeatable and accurate, hopefully, right? But now what happens if you shoot that bore enough that you wind up with only 3 inches of actual rifling left in the bore, right?
My 260 Ackley.
Yeah, it was probably still hunting accurate, but it wasn't keyholing your rounds either, right? So that would be, I guess, as an analogy, that'd be kind of the same thing. Like you're still going to get a little bit of spin on it, and a little bit of spin helps a surprising amount.
Okay. Effective range of a slug then out of a shotgun.
Well, it depends. It depends on your barrel length. It depends on for me, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking an animal with a slug further than 150 max, and that's a hard
Yeah.
Like,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like
and that would be who was it?
Yeah,
Broby on YouTube, or sorry, CGN or YouTube or something like that, did a bunch of shotgun testing, slug testing back. Oh, that's got to be 4 or 5 years ago now. Anyways, he's in Northern Alberta. I hope he's listening. But anyways, CGN user Broby, Brobee, and he shot a bunch of slugs into some ballistics gel, and it was very surprising how well those slugs performed on ballistics gel, right? And then, in the culmination of his summer's research, he went out and shot a deer that fall, and guess what he shot that deer with?
A slug.
Double-aught buck.
Oh, is that right? That's funny.
I know. Like, I had a 12-inch Chinese Norinco barrel on an 870, and I took that to the range, and I was shooting my hand load slugs into 3 inches at 80 yards, right? So and that was with just the bead front sight. So I would comfortably shoot that shotgun at 80 yards at a deer.
Right. Yeah.
Now, any further than that, and shot right, you're going to be putting a scope on it, and your parabolic arc on that slug is going to be.
You're lobbing them in there for sure.
Yeah. You might as well be throwing fucking peanuts at that deer. Like, it's
lawn darts.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if I had a choice between a muzzle loader or a shotgun to shoot a deer, it's a muzzle loader.
Yeah, true. So with just regular shot, one of the guys that I spoke of earlier that bought one of those Norinco 870 copies, it was a 12-inch barrel. He said at the time that he'd done some reading, and that in a shotgun, barrel length doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of difference. Now, I have a bit of a hard time believing that. What do you guys think? Or what have you noticed, or have you even have any evidence?
Yeah, I don't have any evidence to counteract that. But that's a pretty bold statement, because ballistics 101 is, you're containing an explosion and shooting a projectile down a barrel. The longer the barrel, the more energy that's pushing that projectile longer through that. You're going to get more velocity out of it. So
don't forget though, that most shot shells are using a very fast pistol type powder. In fact, a lot of shot shell powders are too fast.
True.
So that powder is completely combusted probably in the first 8 to 10 inches of barrel. So
I think easily.
Is it still accelerating? I guess would be my question, right? I think at some point, just like anything else, you have a certain point of diminishing returns where if you get a long enough tube on it, it's actually be slowing your shot down versus it's still speeding up. Now, whether or not that's a short barrel thing or a long barrel thing, I don't know. I know the biggest difference you'll find on a longer barreled, call it a rifle or a shotgun or whatever, is your sight radius. So if you have a front and a rear sight, the further away that front sight is from the rear sight, the more
lined up better
you can be when you're placing your rounds. Now, most shotguns have a bead in the front, and maybe guys see beads that are closer better than beads that are further. I don't know. I've gotten out of the habit of using the bead at all over the last couple of years since I got that over under. I shoulder and I boom. As soon as I As soon as I see the bird and I got that rifle on my shoulder, I pull the trigger and the bird falls out of the sky. I don't aim a shotgun at all.
Well, yeah. No, really. Like, Kurt, really, you
No,
get
I'm
to
just
know.
teasing John there.
Oh,
I point
yeah.
the rifle and bird falls out of the fucking sky. All right, big.
Okay, big shoots. Yeah. But in reality, though, you get to know your shotgun and you know what it's going to pattern like.
Yeah.
You know what you effectively can and can't do. So you're going to see the bird coming through, and you're going to know just by heart or by gut feel if he's gone or whatever, right? Yeah.
The worst is when you take his legs out and he's still flying. It's like, goddamn.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
We can't afford to land then, right? Got to get special permission then.
That's right.
Fabian says 870s are the AKs of the shotgun world. Now, is that good or is that bad?
Is that a compliment or
Probably not. Oh, got a smiley face back there.
Yeah.
I would argue that the Bacales are the AKs of the shotgun world.
And why is that?
Because they're made in Russia.
Oh,
Actually, I would argue. Fuck,
Sure.
it's already getting to my head.
Wow.
I would argue that the Siaga is the AK of the shotgun world because that is legit the fucking AK.
Oh, geez. Oh,
Funny.
Russia shotgun shoot you.
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Well,
All right.
So you got your mind made up yet? What are you going to buy?
Well, I don't know. All this stuff that you guys are throwing at me, and then Steve comes along with HP 9 all the way. That's that Narenko. I looked it up. I said, what the hell is an HP 9 now?
No, I finally bit the bullet the one time, and I think it was a $99. I think it was an HP 9. Maybe it wasn't. It was a Narenko 870 copy.
Okay.
And it was funny because I got it home, and I was all excited. I pulled it out of the box. And then me being the way I am, you grab a box of shells and you go, right?
Yeah. Right.
And my first thought was, okay, well, I pulled the trigger a couple of times and I thought there was some weird marks on the shells. So I started cycling the ammo through the shotgun. And the funny thing is like, you'd load it in, you'd push the release tab, you'd rack it back, and the shot shell would come out and spill its gunpowder and shot all over the ground because there was a sharp edge in there that was literally slicing through the plastic hole.
I remember you telling me a little bit about this. Yeah.
And like, I just, yeah. I did that. That shotgun did not last long.
That's funny. Well, if anybody sees a hell of a deal on HP 9s out there with a short barrel on it, let us know, please. Steve says, I used mine for 3-gun for 4 years and never an issue. Well, that's quite an endorsement, actually.
There you go.
All right, on the hunt for an HP 9, 12-inch or so. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you usually get on those short guys for
14 straight, 14 and a half. It's an improved cylinder.
Okay.
Until you get to 18 inches, 18 or more than 18 inches, I should say, it's going to be an improved cylinder.
Okay.
And that's one thing that's really nice about some of the Turkish shotguns now is they're starting to ship with choke tubes, right? So you've got whatever stroke you want to screw in there, and they're a Remington pattern choke, so they're easy to find.
Sure.
So like, but like on the 12, the 14 and a half, I've seen some 16 and some 18-inch barrels. They're all improved cylinder, like they're just straight cylinder bore.
Right.
If there's anything on there.
Yeah. I feel like I have to have a short one because my buddy Jens has one of the, he calls it a pirate gun, but one of those mare's legs, 44 mag. He's in love with that thing. And I mean, it is fun.
Well,
I can't shoot that thing with shit unless I cowboy up and shoot it from the hip, and then I just look like a damn fool. And I don't hit anything with it.
I found your HP 9, Kurt.
Did you?
No way. That was fast.
For $199 used.
Is that right?
Great, but whatever. Great North Guns in Quebec. They've got a listed
problem right there.
Yeah.
Well, find another one, please.
Yeah. Okay, good talk. Well, there we go. Oh, Matt says, "Love my mare's leg, 45 Colt."
I've actually got a ranch hand in 45 Colt, and I put a full length buttstock on there, and that's my camper gun.
Nice.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, Jens, bless his soul, when we went up moose hunting this past fall, I did the sleeping in a sack on top of spruce boughs under a tarp thing. as we were going to bed, letting the fire die down, comes out from his truck, hands me this fucking scabbard, and goes, "I think you're gonna need this."
You bastard.
This is a guy that grew up in Berlin. I'm like, Jens, it's just the bush. Nobody's gonna come and eat me. Well, but maybe I'll take it in.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it.
That's right. No kidding. Oh my.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. That was great.
So hopefully
A
you've
hell
got,
of a lot more than I knew before.
well, hopefully you've got less questions than you did before. So
Well, I always have questions, and nothing really stinks in. That's part of the fun of having me as a friend. Didn't I tell you that last week? Probably, but tell me again, please.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Okay, come with me. Grab your credit card. Let's go.
Right. Yep.
So,
All
cool.
right. What's in news today? Or
Well-
did we go through that already?
Petition E2-3041 now exceeds 158,000 signatures as of 30 minutes ago. This surpasses the previous record holder, which was the e-petition for electoral reform considering government bills public consultation. Remember, folks, if you haven't signed the petition or haven't verified your signature with the verification email, it may have gone to your spam folder. Let's get that done. Let's hit it with everything we got.
Yeah.
Everything we got. I don't know.
Everything we got. We didn't change that from last week, I guess.
No, we didn't. I still don't understand.
It's a Rickyism. I have a whole list of them I need to get in here. Get two birds stoned at once.
That's right.
Stuff like that.
That's right. So, what do we got up next? You guys want to do the naming and shaming, or you guys do something else?
I'll cover this. Let's do the human who doesn't suck.
Oh,
I'll do both Dingleberry and human who doesn't suck.
really?
Yeah. Human who doesn't suck. Well, let's give another shout out to Glenn Motz because he's a champion.
He's just an awesome all-around dude.
Yeah, he keeps on it like this.
Yeah. No, he's hit between him, Pierre. There are fighters on the hill. Bob Zimmer. That's all I can say. Yeah, we've said enough about it. Right.
Yeah,
But
it's just
then-
the continual calling out of the fucking bullshit. The liberals, we're doing this, we're doing that, and it's all for the sake of the uneducated public. This fucking red flag law bullshit, and I can't believe that they're still spouting this stuff off in Parliament, like it's something new.
Yeah, that's right.
You fucking retards. This is already in place.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know.
Well, and so now that's a good segue. Let's jump into Dingleberry of the week. I'm going to lead off with the last one because Bill Blair, there was a heated exchange in Parliament today with Bill Blair and a bunch of Tory MPs calling out Bill Blair saying, we're going to bring in red flag laws. Well, listen, Dingleberry, we had red flag laws in Canada. Try getting, one of our exes to say, I'm going to come beat the shit out of you. And then she's going to call the cops. Well, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to check, is he a firearm owner? Yeah. Well, let's go. Let's load up. Let's SWAT up. Or whatever. And let's go take his guns or whatever, right? Just even on a threat, right? So those laws already exist in Canada. And for the former head of chief of police in Canada and now the Minister of Public Safety to not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking appalling, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, for
absolutely.
Sure.
Well, apparently he doesn't even have a cow.
Of course not.
Well,
but John, he's an expert because he carried his sidearm for 40 years.
I don't think he has.
Yeah, and we all know somebody who's done the same thing and can't shoot it, doesn't know the fucking parts of it.
Yep.
All that shit.
Yep.
Desk jockey.
They shoot their 22 rounds a year for their qualification, and that's it.
Yep.
Right.
So
right.
regardless, moving on, another Dingleberry of the week, Airbnb. So, we were looking at when we were doing TACCOM and pod, potentially going to SHOT Show and all that stuff. We needed places to stay. Thank God I travel for work. I'm in a hotel right now, but thank God for work. I got plenty of free hotel rooms through my job. So thank God I don't have to even look at these guys because Airbnb just announced yesterday that they're donating $300,000 over 3 years to the Doctors for Protection from Guns. which is a staunch anti-gun organization that wants all semi-automatics banned, all handguns banned. Just look on Twitter and you'll see the vitriol coming off their page. They're consistently citing American firearm laws to counteract Canadian firearms deaths. They have Dr. Alan Drummond, who is colloquially known within firearm rights advocacy groups as Dr. Fuck, because he literally tells people to fuck off and die on social media and shit like that.
Well, I can get behind some of that in some cases.
For sure, but Kurt, you're a public figure, or you're not. Well, I guess we kind of are now, but you're not the head of emergency or at a
I get that.
Perth, Ontario hospital.
Just
right?
being a dick, you guys know that.
Yeah, for sure. But
it's a gift.
If you guys can't, I know Kelly from Slamfire and Project Maple Seed, she's putting together a list of possible options to not use Airbnb if you have to, because Project Maple Seed uses Airbnb when they travel the country, right? So, it's sad.
Quite comfortable in a sack and a tarp.
True.
Fuck, I'll buy some for Maple Seed.
True. And okay, moving on, I got one more.
Memory foam.
yeah. Memory foam and a tarp. But not the Princess Auto tarps, though. Anyway, so moving on, New South Wales.
Good time.
This is a gun podcast, not a tarp podcast. Shut up.
Anyway. We're going to do a tarp review next. All right.
These are your spruce boughs, and here's your tarp.
Okay, sorry, I had to get that out of my system.
A canvas back tarp or a poly back tarp? You want the canvas back tarp because the canvas back tarp better. It'll shed water longer. It'll last you a lifetime of service. If you take care of your tarp, you got to take care of your tarp. Sorry.
That was for free, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on down to Tarp Farm. We'll tarp you up.
Tarp World. God's Tarp World. Fuck, you remind me of one of those U.S. commercials, that carpet commercial when you're watching Jerry Springer.
Tarp, and then Tarp World's got the
Who's the general?
Yeah.
General Tarp. Oh my God.
Something there. I don't know what it was. I don't know.
Oh, fuck. What is John? I gotta look back in the notes. What is John drinking?
Glenfiddich Scotch.
John.
It's empty.
Glenfiddich weed, I think.
Oh my!
Holy Christ!
Oh.
All right.
Okay, I got two more dingleberries. Two more dingleberries. Ontario Tim brought one up.
Two?
Yeah, Ducks Hunt Unlimited.
Oh God, yeah.
They can go fuck themselves, because every promotion they do is let's support. Here's a gun cabin. Let's raffle this off. And now they won't support this petition because that's not their stance. So
yeah, wetlands. Yeah, wetlands only.
So fuck them.
Yeah.
And then did you guys see that link I put on from Gun Hub? The New South Wales Police, which is a province in Australia.
Oh fuck! I just read that. Yeah.
Yeah, they fucking arrested a guy for a gel blaster. It's not even a paintball gun; it's a gel blaster. They look tactical. They arrested him. They won't give him fucking parole or anything. They won't let him go.
They're gonna arrest people for tactical douches next.
No, hold on. No. Let's
semi-automatic douche.
Let's just take a deep breath for a second. Okay. So, was he pretending?
I can't imagine what you're going to come up with. Say again.
Was he pretending these were guns? Because, like, in Canada, if you rob a liquor store or 7-Eleven with a BB gun...
All it says is possessing military-style gel blasters toy. Refuse bail. So he's facing, okay, here, I'll read the article. New South Wales Police has arrested a Kelso man for facing 10 counts of acquire prohibited firearm and 3 counts of acquire pistol subject to firearms prohibition order. These military-style prohibited firearms have been taken off our streets by New South Wales Police, who in a statement said during the search, police located and seized 10 military-style gel blasters, 3 pistol-type gel blasters, scopes, and ammunition. Okay, the man was refused bail. 41-year-old was arrested and taken to Bathurst Police Station. Comments on social media were quick and scathing, blah, blah, blah.
So he already had a firearms prohibition before he got arrested.
But a gel blaster isn't a firearm, or is it?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, maybe in Australia it is.
But that's where we're going, right?
Oh, no.
Well, that's the whole premise of this. This mention. Yeah.
So,
don't get me wrong. Stupid is as stupid does, and I don't know about these guys in Australia, but I kind of
listen.
Sorry for law-abiding gun owners in Australia. I really feel sorry for them because of the shit they got to deal with. But if it's illegal and you get caught with it,
Gel blasters are currently legal as children's toys in several states in Australia. They are a safe and fun toy for children, which are easily identified as toys by their orange tips. They're a fucking Nerf gun.
my kid has one of those gel blasters. And funny story, it looks like an M14 SOCOM, right?
Yeah.
His grandma bought it to him for one Christmas. And it shoots those little gel.
It makes a damn
balls.
mess. Yeah.
Yeah, but it also shoots Nerf darts.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So it's kind of cool, and I just love that thing. I wonder if it's around here somewhere. It might be. I'm in the basement right now, and the kids play.
Yeah, it's down there. Check. Yeah, I've seen it.
I'm sure it's down there.
But still,
Anyways,
it's just, it's just horseshit. That's the way we're going. So
yeah.
And then Ducks Unlimited, we covered that. So there you go. Dingleberries. We always seem to have more dingleberries than we do shout-outs.
That's because
that's
more
the current
dingleberries
state
than there are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Right now, that's the current state.
There are certain organizations that we can join to help fight these dingleberries, right?
Do tell me more.
True dat.
You know,
What can you do to help keep your guns? Join our National Firearms Association like the CCFR and the CSSA. Membership to the CCFR costs $40. It's good for the year. Wouldn't hurt if you bought a shirt, hat, sticker as well. Everything helps. Here's a quick message from one of those organizations.
Oh yeah, I guess we have to.
Are we actually? Can we do that?
Sure.
Just
Play it. Right. Does everybody know the?
And we're back.
All right. Sing a little song if you want.
What do you actually want to play it while we're sitting here talking over it and stuff? That'd be kind of fun.
Next episode. Yeah, you should cue that up.
Oh, you put it in the chat.
Yeah, so I don't forget.
Nicely done.
So I can go on and edit that shit, right? Anyway, we got some shout outs again. I don't know if I said this last week, but Guy Pounder, arguably the greatest name in the history of names. Guy Pounder at Wolverine Supplies gave me a smoking deal on Hair Arms mags. I bought 10 of them off him. So I want to give him a shout for AR mags. So thanks, Guy. You're
Good guy.
Yeah.
All right, shout outs for me. EM Precision Rifles. Steve just spun me up a fresh 6.5 by 47. And I'm grateful as hell. And also to my buddy Jens for spearheading this whole fucking project, you son of a bitch. I know the truth, you prick. Eternally grateful to both of those guys. You're fucking beauties. Jens just picked up. Jens got a rifle built at the same time. His is a 6 by 47. I should figure out how to post a picture here somehow, but I call it his Star Wars blaster. He got it Cerakoted white.
Nice.
But Jens calls it the snowflake because it's going to piss some of them off.
Nice. Nicely done.
A gem. Jens, I'm free Saturday, and I'm going out, and I'm sure you're coming with me. Other shout out I got my 11-year-old boy Sawyer. He was here on Saturday, and we crushed through a whole bunch of 308 and 223 Ackley. Thanks, buddy.
Good job.
Nice.
Oh, well, I got 2 shout outs, I guess. Well, the first one, I guess, is shout out from last week, but I'm redoing it this week. CGN User Skull. This is your handguard. Look at how awesome that looks on my 10.3 inch Troy Northern Defense.
One that actually fit.
Yeah, it's fabulous. And yeah, it's funny. It's funny how the $400 made in the USA handguard fits the made in the USA rifle, whereas the
Isn't it?
$12 made in China handguard doesn't. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. And to
probably like a lot of the shotguns.
Yeah, you might be right.
Just saying.
Big shout out to Bandit Extreme Range Outfitters in Saskatoon. He's helping M14 Medic out with some stuff, and thanks, buddy. Appreciate the extra help on that one, and hopefully we can get this deal done. Other than that, big shout out to Danny Joe for letting us use his music on the show. It's greatly appreciated. Check him out wherever you get your music. What do you think, guys? Is that it or what?
Thanks, Danny. That fucking song sticks in my head. Not that that's hard to do with my limited capacity, but it's ridiculous. Singing that in the office all day.
And I'm going to fade it in as you guys were doing that. I'm going to fade it in.
I got me a good, really big good.
Well, yeah,
I don't even know the words.
It's all good. Hey, if you guys like the new format, let us know. But you're stuck with it, so we're not changing it. So let us know the audio quality. Yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
We're trying to improve things all the time, you guys. And if you got suggestions, we're willing to listen.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well, listen, we might not.
Unless it's a stupid idea.
Okay. Yeah.
Jesus, these people should be involved in some of the conversations the three of us have. I'm pretty sure
we want to live stream some of these conversations.
Yeah.
We need to set up an octagon in John's backyard. I think. For negotiations.
That's right. Just get 3 or 4 more trampolines and a basketball hoop, and away we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
guys.
fellas.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.